Ogenna was a boy everyone in the neighborhood talked about. At just 4 years old, he was known for causing trouble in the school. He would take and eat other children's snacks without asking and even bully them in school. And when anyone tried to stop him, he would cross his arms and say, "Don't dare touch me. My daddy will pay and also deal with anybody that beats me." Ogenna lived alone with his rich father. His mother had left when he was just a baby. No one knew why, and since then, his father did everything to make sure Ogenna was happy. If Ogenna asked for one sweet, his father would buy him a whole bag. If Ogenna wanted a toy car, his father would get him 10. But instead of being grateful, Ogenna only wanted more. He wanted what didn't belong to him too. At school, children were afraid to sit near him. Parents would tell the teacher, "Please, don't let my child sit with Ogenna. He will only get them into trouble." The school head teacher, Mrs. Nwakamma, had called his father so many times to talk about Ogenna's behavior. "Your son is causing too much trouble," she would say. But his father would just smile and say, "He is only a child. He will change." When the new school term started, Ogenna moved to nursery 2. His new teacher was Miss Kewe, a young woman with a warm smile. She loved children and wanted them to do well. At first, Ogenna didn't like her because she didn't let him do whatever he wanted. But she didn't shout at him either. Instead, she would gently talk to him when he misbehaved. A whole week passed, and to his father's surprise, the school didn't call him. No complaints, no issues to settle. His father thought, maybe the school forgot about us. After 2 weeks, still no word. He started wondering what was going on. Could Ogenna have changed, or was the school hiding something? His father decided to wait and see, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something strange was happening. He planned to visit the school soon, just to make sure everything was alright. One day, his father decided to visit the school without telling anyone. As he approached the school gate, he spotted Ogenna walking with his teacher towards the head teacher's office. They looked happy, chatting and smiling. His father stopped in his tracks, expecting his phone to ring with yet another complaint. But the phone stayed silent. A few minutes later, he saw them coming out of the office, laughing even more. This puzzled him. Curious, his father asked the gateman for permission to enter and quietly followed them without being noticed. When they reached the classroom, his father stood by the door, peeking inside. What he saw amazed him. Ogenna was sitting at a special desk right next to the teacher's table. He was leaning towards the teacher, whispering something in her ear. His father's heart skipped a beat when the teacher raised her hand. He thought she was about to scold or even hit Ogenna. His anger started to rise, but to his surprise, the teacher gently placed her hand on Ogenna's shoulder and smiled. She encouraged him, saying, "Be a good boy, Ogenna, and I'll buy you the whole world." Ogenna laughed, and soon the teacher joined in. The other children, seeing them, burst into laughter too. The whole class seemed cheerful and relaxed. Still standing at the door, his father was in shock. "This can't be my Ogenna," he thought. Then the teacher noticed him. "Oh, Mr. Chukwuka," she called out cheerfully. "Ogenna, look, your daddy is here." Ogenna jumped up from his seat and ran to his father, beaming with joy. His father could hardly believe what he was seeing. His father's heart was pounding as he stood by the door. He couldn't believe his eyes. Was this really Ozoemena, the same boy who always caused trouble? Ozoemena sat calmly in his special desk right next to Miss Kewe. He wasn't grabbing other children's things, and the whole class looked peaceful. Daddy, Ozoemena's excited voice broke his thoughts. He turned to see his son running towards him with a big smile, followed by Miss Kewe, who greeted him warmly. "Ah, Mr. Chukwuka, welcome. You came at the right time." Mr. Chukwuka cleared his throat, still confused. "Good afternoon, Miss Kewe. I just came to check on Ozoemena. Is everything okay?" Miss Kewe smiled brightly. "Oh yes, Ozoemena has been doing well. He's my special helper in class now." "Helper?" His father's eyebrows shot up. "This same Ozoemena?" "Yes, sir," Miss Kewe laughed. "At first it wasn't easy. Ozoemena is a smart boy, but he needed attention and guidance. I gave him tasks to help me, like handing out books and organizing the classroom. He loved the responsibility, and it made a big difference. Now he listens more and even helps the other children." Mr. Chukwuka couldn't hide his shock. He looked down at Ozoemena, who was grinning proudly. "Daddy, I'm the teacher's assistant." "I see," Mr. Chukwuka muttered, still trying to process what he was hearing. Miss Kewe gestured towards the classroom. "Please come in and see for yourself." Mr. Chukwuka followed her inside, his eyes scanning the room. The other children were busy working on their classwork. Some even waved and smiled at Ozoemena, something he had never seen before. Miss Kewe walked to her table and showed his father a chart on the wall. "We've made a behavior chart, and Ozoemena's name is right at the top for good behavior this week. He's very proud of it. Aren't you, Ozoemena?" Ozoemena nodded in agreement. "Yes, Daddy, see my gold star." His father stared at the chart, then at his son. "But how? How did you manage this, Miss Kewe?" Miss Kewe chuckled softly. "Patience, Mr. Chukwuka. I treated him with kindness, but made sure he understood their rules to follow. When he did something wrong, I didn't scold him harshly. Instead, I showed him how to do better. He just needed someone to believe in him." Mr. Chukwuka felt a mix of emotions: relief, pride, and even a bit of guilt. He realized he had been spoiling Ozoemena, thinking it was the best way to show love. But maybe Miss Kewe was teaching Ozoemena something even more important. "Thank you, Miss Kewe," his father said, his voice full of gratitude. "It's my pleasure," she replied. "Ozoemena is a bright child. He just needed the right kind of support." As Mr. Chukwuka walked home with Ozoemena that day, he kept glancing at his son, wondering if this change would last. Mr. Chukwuka could hardly believe how much Ozoemena had changed. He kept a close eye on him, watching as Ozoemena tried to follow the advice Miss Kewe had given. Each day, Ozoemena surprised him with his behavior and the kind words he spoke. Things were going well until one day Miss Kewe didn't come to school because she was sick. A different teacher was assigned to Ozoemena's class. That day, Ozoemena slipped out of the classroom and sneaked into the school store. He took some biscuits and sweets without permission. The storekeeper caught him and asked, Ogena, why are you in here? You know you are not allowed without me. Ogena, looking guilty but determined, said, I want to eat some and also send some to Miss Kewe so she can feel better. The storekeeper was taken aback. She had expected an excuse, not such a thoughtful answer. Instead of scolding Ogena, she smiled and said, All right, take everything you've collected. I'll let your father know so he can pay for it later. When his father arrived at the school and heard what happened, he was relieved that the storekeeper handled the situation so kindly. He was grateful. Thank you for understanding, madam. I will talk to him. The storekeeper smiled. He's still learning and he's doing better than before, isn't he? Yes, he is, his father admitted, patting Ogena on the shoulder. But Ogena, you need to understand something. You can't just take things because you want to, even if your reason is good. Ogena looked down, his small hands fiddling with the hem of his shirt. I'm sorry, Daddy. I just wanted to make Miss Kewe happy. I know, my boy, his father said softly. But next time, ask first. You don't want people to think you're a thief, do you? Ogena shook his head vigorously. No, Daddy. That evening, as they sat together in their living room, his father decided it was time to talk seriously with Ogena. Do you know why I've been so worried about you, Ogena? His father began, his voice calm but firm. Ogena looked at his father, his big eyes filled with curiosity. Why, Daddy? Because I love you, his father said, and I want you to grow up to be a good man. Taking things without asking is not the way to show love or care, even for someone like Miss Kewe. Ogena nodded slowly. I understand, Daddy. Good, his father said. Now let's talk about how we can make things right. Tomorrow, we will go to the store together and you will apologize properly to the storekeeper. Agreed? Yes, Daddy, Ogena replied. The next morning, as promised, they went to the school store. Ogena apologized to the storekeeper, who smiled warmly and patted his head. You're a good boy, Ogena. Just remember, always ask first, okay? Okay, Ogena said, his voice sincere. As they walked out of the store, his father couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope. Maybe this was just a small step, but it was a step in the right direction. But he knew there was still more work to be done. Miss Kewe wasn't back yet, and without her guidance, Ogena might slip back into his old ways. His father resolved to be more involved, to teach his son not just with words, but with actions. When Miss Kewe returned to school and heard what had happened, she gently advised Ogena not to take things without permission again. She explained that even when trying to help someone, it is important to follow the rules. Ogena nodded, promising to do better. By the end of the session, Ogena had become one of the best pupils in the class. His behavior and academic performance improved so much that on the prize giving day, Ogena's name was called for 2 awards: Best Improved Pupil and Most Helpful in Class. Mr. Chukwuka's heart swelled with pride as he watched his son walk confidently to the stage to collect his prizes. After the ceremony, he approached Miss Kewe with a deep bow of gratitude. From that time on, she became more than just a teacher to Ogena. She became like a mother, a key figure in Ogena's life. and his father officially made her his son's guardian. Other teachers often approached Miss Kewe for advice on handling Ogena and other difficult pupils in their subsequent classes. To show his appreciation, his father took on responsibilities in Miss Kewe's life, helping her with family matters and supporting her financially whenever she needed it. He even promised to set up business for her if she ever decided to leave teaching. Soon, out of jealousy, other teachers began to spread rumors, claiming that Miss Kewe and Mr. Chukwuka were in a secret relationship. The rumor spread quickly, and it was so damaging that the school management called Miss Kewe in for questioning. When she found out which teacher had started the rumor, she decided to confront her. This confrontation led to Mr. Chukwuka learning about the situation, and he decided to take action. He arrested the teacher, demanding she prove that he was dating Miss Kewe. However, Miss Kewe pleaded for the teacher's release, and she was set free. The school management was angry with Miss Kewe for confronting her colleague and gave her a 1-week suspension without pay. On the day she was to return, Miss Kewe sent her resignation letter through email. All efforts to bring her back were fruitless. Mr. Chukwuka also changed school for Ogena and employed Miss Kewe to teach him lessons at home, paying her double of what the school was paying her. The school management deeply regretted losing such a hardworking and caring teacher. As Ogena grew older, he continued to excel in school and became a well-behaved, kind-hearted boy. He often spoke about how both his father and Miss Kewe shaped his life. Their dedication taught him the value of guidance, discipline, and love. From this story, we should know that every child deserves guidance, love, and discipline to grow into a better person. It's not always about who fills the role of a mother or father, but about the people who truly care and invest in a child's future. Patience, understanding, and teamwork can transform even the most challenging situations into success.
This is Umma's story time. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I am Amarachi Ihoma, the young storyteller.